Well, welcome back to 42nd Street Pete's Big Dumb Fun Show, I call it. Dogs get in. What do you want? Dogs just come in here and do whatever they want and annoy me. They were just out. So, what shall we talk about today? How about porn? That always raises an eyebrow here and there. I got something out of the archives here. Here is a genuine 16mm storefront porn film on a 2,000-foot reel. And the name of this wonderful film on the leader here is called The Bearded Clam. Now, it's not about SpongeBob and SquarePants, obviously. You know, you can say what you want, bearded clam, whatever, but this is a full-length one. Runs about an hour, 58 minutes, 62 minutes, whatever, but that's the way they were. And the thing was with these, I'm going to put it back the way it was, or otherwise it'll fall the fuck over. The thing was, a lot of these theaters actually owned the prints. They bought the prints. What happened is you could buy 10 of those for $450 each. And if you did that, you would have like a rotating stock of like secondary features. Let's say something came in that was a big hit, it was going to be a big hit, and you had a whole library of this shit. And like a lot of like I said, a lot of these theaters kept prints. They called them house prints. They were all numbered, marked. Some were marked as they drew more of a crowd than others. So let's say they get something new in that they had to pay big money for, because some of these things, if you bought them outright, you know, the hot ones were like $1,500 a piece. So you could co-bill it with something that the theater management knew would draw money. So even if the new feature kind of sucked, which you don't know it's going to suck until you run it, you know, the secondary feature would draw money. And the thing is with these films, see, this one's an anomaly. It actually still has opening credits. The problem with these films is they were run back and forth so many times that the first thing that disappeared was the title, then the credits, then the end credits. So a lot of times you would walk in and, you know, they would switch a reel and it would go right into the film because it had eaten up maybe the first 5 minutes of the film. I mean, you know, that's how banged up and, you know, used these things were. And another thing was that you could buy, what did I do with it? You could buy a short. Like, this is about 35 minutes. It's a 35-minute short. These things, you know, were 16mm. They went for 100 to 150 bucks each in quantity. So a lot of people would have, you know, 10 shorts. That would be the whole program. The whole thing was, it was just a really Wild West type thing over in New York, because most of the theaters were showing these 16mm prints, and the storefront theaters would also show them. And on a good week, a storefront theater could take in 10 grand. That's how, you know, popular this stuff was. I mean, you had regular theaters running it, then you had the little sleazy, you know, storefront theaters. And these were also good for making, like, the Venus used to run 3 continuous features, the Harem used to run 4 continuous features, and this was all toward the end of the era here. Before the end of the era, these theaters would run name features, but then when you got down to it, they were just basically throwing these storefront features. A lot of the storefront features I had put out on my video line, in, you know, the quantities that they would have. Like I did A Night at the Venus, which had Flesh of the Lotus, The Horny Landlady, and Teenage Fantasies. Did a couple other ones. I think I did one with the Harem, and there was 4 features in there. I tried to do like a little night, a little bit of everything, showcasing little sleazy places in New York. Like I think I did the Blackjack's Books collection on the Extreme Sleaze Showcase. I did the Peepland collection. So I try to keep the emporiums that they were shown in the forefront, so you know how it went down. So yeah, these films, this is the last print I got. I'm selling them out. I have stuff down in Jersey. There's gonna be, I don't know when, I'm hoping in 2023, there will be a final release of mine. And I say final because I've put out a shitload of these things, probably close to 3 dozen of them, and you know, I got stuff down there. There's probably enough to do maybe 2 or 3 DVDs, but I'm thinking, why not a grand finale? Why not a nice little fucking box set to end it all with some really crazy fucked up shit in it? So that's what I'm hoping to do after the first of the year. We may have a Black Friday sale too with After Hours Cinema. I'm waiting for an email to come back because I'll have a code that I can give you right here, and you can save a couple bucks on the purchases. So if you're so inclined. But yeah, that's how all this stuff started. That's how Something Weird Video started putting out these things, the double features, the storefronts, because, like I said, 58 to 62 minutes long, you could, you know, make a 2-hour program out of them on VHS, and that's what Mike did back in the day. So, you know, these are, you know, little slices of history that sometimes get lost. And, you know, the weird part was some of these films basically had no plot and were just a bunch of fucking and sucking for 60 minutes. I've had a few of these. They're absolutely positively no plot. And, you know, the majority of these were, you know, shot here and there over, you know, weekends in motels and things. One of the worst ones that I ever saw was something called Saturday Night Special, which supposedly starred Jamie Gillis and George Payne. Well, it's this half-assed heist film. Looks like it was shot by a bunch of old Jewish guys over the weekend. There is no sex involving Jamie Gillis or George Payne. When it comes to a sex scene, they take these insert shots from another film and stick them in there. And the reason I know it isn't Jamie is, and I'm not a big fan of looking at cocks, but this cock is uncircumcised where Jamie's is. So it's an obvious insert shot, and do yourself a favor, don't even seek out that film Saturday Night Special, because actually a Saturday Night Special was a cheap handgun, a .22 revolver or a .25 automatic brought in from Italy, which could explode in your hand. But why they used this for the premise, I think there was a hold-up with the Saturday Night Special. I don't fucking know. But that's one film to stay away from. Other films are good. You know, it's up to you. You know, you got to like weed through it, look at some reviews and see what's what. The way I worked mine is, I honestly would never put out a film that I personally thought sucked. So I would go through this stuff, and I had discarded a lot of stuff, but basically most of the films in my collection are really pretty good and don't suck, and they've been digitally restored. So, like I said, as soon as I get that information, I will have it up here for you. Maybe you can pick up some stuff and save some money for the holidays. But, yeah, it's a unique slice of history, and would this ever work today? Probably not. It's sad, but luckily I was there to experience it, and experience it in some really weird fucking scenarios, because my whole thing with X-rated stuff in general was I'd go see the shit when I was drunk, because I'd usually just sit in the back away from everybody and catch a few Z's. There was more weird shit going on in the audience than on the screen sometimes, which is why I tended to, you know, the whole seating in a porn theater was seating based on avoidance. Because you didn't want to sit next to some guy who might start whacking it. And a lot of people just whacked it out in the open in these theaters. And sometimes so many people were whacking it, it looked like a J.O. Jamboree. But, you know, it was weird, it was fucking creepy, but that's part of the thing that went along with the scene. And as you got later into more aberrant behavior, shall we say, you know, like I said, I've spent the night in the Venus because I was too fucked up to go home. You see low-end hookers turning tricks for $10. You see guys cruising guys. You see shit that you really don't want to fucking see, but you saw it anyway, and it scars your fucking mind. But be that as it may, I saw a lot of weird shit in there, and no, I did not partake of any of it. Like I said, I just basically went in there to see some porn to maybe warm me up for a trip to the dating room or something, or basically to just chill out and whatever, because like I said, a lot of these theaters were only $1 to get in, so if you were too fucked up to walk around, you just wanted to kill some time, you went in one of them. So that's our show for today, and we just hit something with, there's been 59,000 views of this channel in 2022, and I thank everyone for tuning in. I thank everyone for supporting this. Supposedly YouTube wants me to monetize this. There's some way to make money off this. I don't fucking know. What are you going to make off this thing? What kind of ads are they going to run? I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, and you guys like it, so I keep on doing it. So with that in mind, Stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.